Welcome back to another episode of our Eagle Perspective podcast. I'm Mike Siciliano, Dean of Students of the Upper School, here today with a couple of our amazing dads, Dave Porcelli and TJ Smith.
That's right.
Welcome to you both.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
very much for having us.
Good to have you on. We got one good Italian name, and then we got
Absolutely.
a Smith.
Smith, not Smythe.
So,
Smith.
not Smythe, it's Smith. Okay.
yes.
As a Siciliano, you know, it's technically in Italian, if you're in Italy, it's Siciliano.
Yes,
So there's
the C is a
yeah.
It's not
so,
a
so you've kept that and done it right.
absolutely.
And we have just fully cast aside our Italian roots and gone.
Absolutely. Well, every good U.S. teacher says CELL is a cell.
That's
right?
true.
That's your biology teacher.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
right.
shell
Okay.
if you're Italian. So
all
there we
right.
go.
Should I tell the science teachers or should we? No. Okay. We are here today to talk about parent involvement, specifically dad involvement.
Yes.
And there are some awesome ways our moms get to be involved too. But especially in the last couple of years, our opportunities for dads to be involved on the daily has increased quite a bit. And you two are both here because you are in charge of our Dad's Dawn Patrol, which we're
That's
in
right.
year 2 of. And I think you just mentioned off camera you have over 120 dads involved in that. Is that right?
We do this year.
Okay, that's incredible.
program
We
is
need to
growing.
get to 200.
Okay, so we're recruiting a little bit.
Yes.
So this is a bit
Always.
of a recruitment tool. Before we go down that road, can you just for a little bit, just for our audience who, I mean, you know, everyone knows who you guys are, but just in case, just tell a little bit about yourself, how your family came to Santa Fe, maybe how long you've been here,
Sure.
and how age of your kids, and
Go ahead.
all that fun stuff.
So our family's been here for 5 years now. We've been blessed to have our daughter. She came in 4th grade, and she just started as a freshman in high school. So Sienna's blossoming and growing, and my wife works with you and the team here. So as soon as she became full time, they realized they had a gap in service hours, and they had me fill it.
Yeah.
So volunteer hours have shifted.
Right.
It's all great.
Voluntold hours or volunteer hours, one of those
We
two
love-
things.
we love what
you
we
know.
do. So
It's
it's
good.
awesome.
Okay.
And I have 2 children. Isabel, who's a freshman at Biola. She's studying nursing up there. And my son, Evan, is a junior. And we've been here since 3rd grade.
Okay.
We actually came looking at Santa Fe for a middle school for my daughter. She was going to be transitioning into 6th grade. She couldn't make that trip. We came with Evan, who saw that field as a 3rd grader and fell in love with this place. And we actually were blessed enough with Mrs. Park's direction to get him in at Christmas. So we've been here since Christmas of 2nd grade, because he finished his 3rd grade year here. Yeah.
Okay.
It's awesome.
And then Isabel came the next fall.
Yeah, well, 3 kids that are just 3 of the nicest, most awesome kids around.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't say that to all the guests. I do say it to most of the guests.
Yeah, that's
but
okay.
I mean, it's a low bar, but still, it's true in your case. So I'm going to start actually with you, TJ, because you are also on the leadership team of our Men of SFC group.
That's right. Yep.
Which has been around for a long time, and maybe you could share a little bit about that, and then how out of that kind of came.
Sure.
Dad.
So with the Men of SFC, I started attending Men of SFC events when Evan, I guess, was in 3rd grade, so lower school dad. And at that time, we were meeting at Solana Beach Press, and we'd have worship, and the dads would get together, and as a way for us to fellowship with other dads in the school. And after being in it for a couple of years, I started working with Sam Mercer and Jason Scott and got more involved in just helping make sure that dads knew about this opportunity that we have to just get the men of the school together and live in community. Because as a commuter school, it's kind of hard for us to be, to just stop our cars and get out like the women do and walk around and start, meeting other dads. But through Men of SFC and what Dave and I get to be part of with Dad's Dawn Patrol, it's an amazing way for us to build community here at Santa Fe Christian. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I haven't getting to be a part of it. I mean, it's just a ton of fun. I love it. I love seeing you guys out. I mean, one of my favorite Men of SFC things is the hamburgers on the first day of school.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You cook 30,000 hamburgers.
It's
to get eaten in
unbelievable.
4
It's
minutes.
it goes in 15 minutes.
Yeah. So Dave, why don't you talk about Dad's Dawn Patrol? Because, from the very beginning, I think it was Rod who actually approached you with this, right? How did this thing come about?
So until Dawn Patrol came along, as TJ mentioned, if there was smoke or fire on campus, there was probably a dad nearby. Because
Sure.
our participation on campus was always cooking events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Breakfast, lunches. And a couple years back at a middle school breakfast, I believe it was, we were talking, and Rod was sharing his vision for the new loop road. And like all good dads, we said, hey, if that comes together, let us know. We'd be happy to help. And
Famous last words.
Rod was taking notes.
Yeah.
So, a year later, he was able to get the road completed. We spent some time with Rod and the leadership team taking a look at how to make it come together. And literally on the first day of school last year was the first day that road was open, kind of like the building you work in, right?
Yeah,
Everything came together right at the last minute.
Yeah, I was moving my stuff into my office at like 9 o'clock the day before school started. So
we had about 20 dads who were willing to give it a shot. We put together the program. TJ and I recruited pretty aggressively all year long, and we created an opportunity for dads to really fill two roles on campus, safety and service.
Okay.
That's really what the Dawn Patrol is about. It's about safety of our children each morning and letting them see their dads in service.
So, and just for people who may not know, so we had a big construction project that finished, a couple years ago, and it used to be that all the drop-off happened out front of the school.
Correct.
And as part of the construction process now, there's a big, you mentioned the loop road that goes all the way behind campus. So why is there a need for dads? I mean, let's talk about the safety part first. What is it that you guys do?
One of the features of the loop road is we've got kind of a narrow gap in the back of the school.
Yeah.
And the way Rod first explained it to us when he was working with the architects and landscape architects to put this all together was he's like, guys, imagine like a Formula One track where they're going to have to come into a pit lane and these cars are going to be pulling over, letting their kids out of the car, and then moving forward.
Right.
You've got to direct traffic. So what we decided to do is put dads along that corridor to keep the traffic flowing on the outside path, getting down to lower school. And so it just takes a certain number of dads. I think we have to have 9 guys safely to make sure that everything's taken care of.
What are all the jobs? Because I know you actually have names for the various jobs on the loop.
We sure do.
And also I'm curious, how many dads on a day does it require?
Well, I mean, 9 would be, we like to have 9 as a minimum. We'd love to have 11 serving every day. So start at the top.
Yeah, so the Dawn Patrol actually came about as we were searching for some branding, some name that would excite people. And TJ's a surfer. I didn't know what a Dawn Patrol was because I'm not a surfer.
Get it, Dawn Patrol?
I don't know, I got you. Yeah,
Dawn Patrol,
I'm not a surfer
going out
either.
early and those who get out on the line early. So we built the whole thing and made the names and brought the names in around that. So we actually have the folks who help on the main road in to keep people from getting out of their cars too soon. We call that the lineup. They go past the cutback at that left-hand turn. That dad's controlling the traffic flow into the upper school drop zone. We have the tube where the cars come together because there is a spot on the road where the two lanes come together a little bit, and then they split down below where we have somebody working the crosswalk.
Okay.
And then you've got the drop zone for the upper school kids and the kick out for the lower school kids.
The kick out.
Isn't that cute? Isn't that
I like
fun?
it. Now, there are some problems you've had to solve for, like what happens when you get a crier?
We have a crying zone.
Okay, so
in
what is
lower
that?
school.
So I'm pulling up to the lower school, hypothetically, of course, and my kid, by the way, my 5-year-old will just hop right out. My 8-year-old might be the crier. But
So that's fine. It happens.
So we have a crier. Like, what happens? I'm holding up the whole line.
We have an area marked off right after the lower school zone, which is basically set aside so that parents that are having issues with their child give them some time to like recoup their thoughts and like kind of gather themselves before getting out of the car.
You name it's named the cry zone appropriately, right?
Yeah,
because the lower school kids sometimes they have anxiety, or maybe their parents
Beginning
have
of the
the
year.
anxiety.
Right.
I think at the beginning of the year, it's more the moms and dads who have the anxiety.
Right.
But we have an area where they can kind of just pull off and take their time and be relaxed and not stressed about the process, right? Because the most important thing, other than keeping the kids safe, is just making sure that the process flows smoothly and that the people start their day on the right foot.
Right.
So
Now, you mentioned safety and service. So tell me about the service part of it.
that is maybe the coolest part, right? So we know that the heart of any good school, the moms, they rule the school, right? They're here all day and they're volunteering and doing amazing things. And we like to believe that when the dads get on campus, it's kind of cool. And so when we put this together, it was one thing to have dads here now every day serving and letting their kids see them. But one of the most important elements, at least to me, is that we gather in the mornings around 7:15. Everybody kind of gets a safety vest and stop signs if they're working a certain role. And then we go out and we do our thing for about an hour.
Yeah.
But then we come back together right on the upper school quad, and it's literally at 8:15. So the middle school kids are milling around, just getting ready to start their day, and the high school kids are arriving. And we get together, we debrief real quick, and then we gather up and pray.
Yeah.
And, to me, the most important thing we do besides letting the children see the parents and their heart for service is to also let them see their heart for God.
Yeah.
And it is, sometimes kids join us, sometimes yourself and other staff members join us, but I think it's just such an important message to let them see their dads pray right out, on the quad, and pray for their day, pray for the school, and pray for either families or kids in need, and just reach out and show the heart of service, but more importantly, a Christian heart of service.
Yeah. The other, speaking to service too, the other thing that it gives us the opportunity to do as men of the school is it enables a lot of the teachers to spend a little bit more time in the morning lesson planning and doing things they want to do in their classroom before all these kids start rushing into the room, right? So by us being available to serve them and the teachers and the kids of the school, it enables us to give them that break that they need, maybe another 15 or 20 minutes in the beginning of the day for them to start their day off the way they want.
Yeah, I know that is really appreciated. And especially in the upper school, now that we start at 8:30, there's actually, sometimes it's not even teachers doing their own prep work or whatnot, but they can meet with kids from 7:45 to 8:30. Kids can make up tests. They can do some tutoring or whatnot. So, that's a really valuable service. So, thank you.
Yeah, at the lower school, all the positions we fill were filled by teachers and teachers' aides
they used to be
before
down
we
there
came
every
there.
morning.
So it's it really, I think it helps them out a lot.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And I agree. I think the modeling prayer is an underrated aspect of the whole thing. I think, our kids obviously see prayer all the time. We in the upper school, we say really every class should start with prayer.
Good, I love that. I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah, so, but there is something neat about, when kids are doing it every day and it's just sort of an expectation, and they see a group of grown men out there just choosing to do this with their time.
Yep.
It's a little bit of like, this isn't just like a requirement, this is like a habit that, people build for their lives and choose to do that time together. So I know that's a really powerful part of it.
Yeah, it sure is. In fact, I've got a story to share on that. So for the days that I've served so far this year, we had a boy that was a Santa Fe kid. His name is Alex Babowski, Tracy Babowski's son. So we had a situation where he had this really, I think it was a viral infection or something called MOG in May. And as soon as we found out about it as a family, we began praying for that kid every single day. And it just so happened at one of Evan's cross-country meets in September, I show up a couple weeks ago, and Alex is standing there with crutches, getting ready to go off to college. And I about lost it because we'd been praying for that kid every single day.
Yep.
Here on campus, families around school for months, and it was a complete answer to prayer that this kid is on his. I think he's on his way back to school already this week.
Yeah,
like he's at UC Davis.
Yeah, and for people who don't know that story, Alex was an incredible cross country runner, Division I up at UC Davis, and it got this disease and couldn't walk.
Yeah, couldn't walk at all.
Really for 3 months.
Yep.
And so I know those prayers mean the world to him and his family. So
yeah, and that's just one of those things. Like if people don't understand the power of prayer, it's real and it works, and we should be doing it every day and modeling it in front of our kids for sure.
Yeah.
So,
okay, here's a random question.
Yeah.
How do your kids feel about seeing you on campus?
I think it weirds my son out a little bit. My daughter loved it when she was here. I don't know if that's a girl thing.
Yeah.
But she liked walking by or walking and seeing all the dads getting together and praying. I think maybe I weird Evan out a little bit because I'm kind of the weird like geeky dad.
You're not any weirder than the rest of us.
Well, I know, but I don't know. For him, he's a junior though. Remember, the juniors have to be kind of cool.
Every junior boy thinks their parents are weird.
Yeah, which is fine. So I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I think Sienna loves that I'm here.
Yeah.
I can always get a hug every morning. She doesn't walk by and that's my dad.
That's good.
No, she appreciates that we're here and she understands it.
Yeah, I ask as a dad of still little ones, they
love
At what point will my kids kind of walk the long way around?
When your daughter's 13, that's a weird age for girls.
Right. Yeah.
And then I think my son was fine with it until I think he's probably okay with it. It's just I try not to get in his business. You know?
But don't you think in the long run it's going to be but my dad was there. He was involved enough to be there on campus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and it's interesting. Before I started on Dawn Patrol, so as I mentioned, my wife was the super volunteer.
Yeah.
She knew everybody, and I knew a few people. I can tell you, volunteering, being in the Dawn Patrol, I know a ton of people now.
Yeah.
I think the opportunity to be out there and serve and let your kids see it, it's pretty powerful. And when you start joining us in the mornings, when you have some free time, I'm sure your children love seeing you do that too.
I do owe you at least one morning. Like I'm there, I'm around. I often have meetings in the mornings, but I feel like I need the full experience.
It's amazing. You'd love it. And I mean, you probably know a lot of the families already because of your role, but for guys like us, like it really builds community. I mean, I've gotten to meet so many amazing dads through that experience and through Men of SFC and just being able to serve the kids, but more importantly, to make friends with guys that I wouldn't have otherwise known, like guys that are lower school dads, middle school dads. Yeah. That's been the really cool part of it, and God wants us to live in community. So what better way to do that than to serve our kids in the school?
Yeah. One of the really special things I think that's happened this year is we do a lot of, we'll call it recruiting, but inviting people to participate at a lot of the new family events. Yeah. And I think we have 20 new dads, like new to the school. Yeah. And
that
being able to connect them, they get to meet families, they get integrated into our community faster. And it's really nice just to watch the lower school and upper school dads interacting, right? Because if you're an upper school dad, you wouldn't have reason to know the lower school families much. Yeah. But last year, I remember as the fifth graders were getting ready to move up to sixth grade, or even as I was a middle school dad thinking about my daughter entering high school, having upper school dads like TJ or having other dads who you could just say, hey, what happens with this or what happens with that? It's really, really impactful. And this year, like I said, so many new dads, new to the school. And I've had at least one or two say, this is awesome. I know so many people already. And that's really another hidden gift that you can get from the Dawn Patrol.
I love that, and I've heard that from some of our new dads too. And I'd throw out, I think another cool tie is that when you guys meet up in the upper school area in the mornings at 7:15ish, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're a lower school dad and you do this, you kind of get to see that piece of the campus, and then afterwards when you come and pray, you kind of get the vibe of the upper school and the middle school a little bit before school, a little bit of a sneak preview opportunity for you, if you don't have any idea about what upper school is like. So how does somebody get involved?
Okay. Well, we have a QR code that we can provide. It's really easy to sign up. You just follow the QR code. It'll give you a form to fill out with your availability. Yeah. And the goal for what Dave and I are trying to accomplish is we've got several daily leaders throughout the course of the week. And what we've done now is the guys that are on a certain text string, like for example, I'm a Wednesday guy. So we'll have a group of dads that are on there. And if someone can't make it, you just text or respond in the app. We built this app to enable us to track your availability. If you've got a work commitment, you can't show up, no big deal. We'll get you covered. But the goal is to get everybody on campus to serve at least once a month. And then if you want to do more, like we've got some alumni dads, like Kenny Blackington comes and he serves with us, and he's here, I think, weekly. But it's an amazing group of guys, and it's real easy to sign up. We'll get you the QR code.
Yeah, it's actually on the Men of SFC tile.
That's right.
So if you go to the Men of SFC tile, kind of scroll your eyes toward the bottom, you'll see a quick link, and that'll let you sign up. Yeah. And it is, as TJ mentioned, I mean, this year, super fun. We have a couple of grandparents who participate. Yeah. Amazing.
That's quick, so cool.
One amazing quick story. I hadn't thought about grandparent participation until one of the dads came and said, "Can my dad and I serve together?"
Awesome.
And I said, "Sure." And he goes, "We just thought it would be great each week to get together and serve on the Dawn Patrol, and then we go out to breakfast and we have some bonding time."
It's phenomenal.
And that family now has another grandparent who's just coming into town, and he just has heard so much about it. He's jumping in next Monday.
Okay.
So, we would love to have, as TJ said, the opportunity to build community. We love the opportunity to bring more people into the program. So we have dads whose kids have graduated, who have enjoyed the camaraderie and what they get from being part of the Dawn Patrol, who still come and do it. Yeah. They have no reason to come to Santa Fe anymore, but they're here in the morning, and when we have grandparents participating, so it's really, really fun opportunity.
Well, the good news for you is that my dad definitely watches every podcast episode, so he's going to be joining you now, so that's a plus.
That's amazing.
And he's going to drag me too. So
we'll take him.
You're up 2 already. Mission accomplished.
If you can get dad to take you out to breakfast, before or after, double win, right?
The problem is, now I have to pay sometimes. It's different than it used to be. So, but that's okay.
That's good for you, though.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I owe him at least a breakfast or two.
Yeah,
every once in a while.
Probably.
So, okay. If you, how do you see this growing?
Well, I think because this is only our second year, my thought is the more that we do this, the more guys see the experience like Dave and I've had where, I mean, this is the other cool thing is we can show up to like a football game and I know half of the dads that are in the bleachers because of this opportunity. So I would just recommend anybody that's part of the school, get involved, try to serve at least once a month. Because the blessing that you'll get from serving and meeting other dads in the school is just incredible.
Yeah.
Like it really is a good community of believers.
Which is a good thing to point out. You're not asking for someone to sign up for a daily or a weekly commitment, even, right? It's usually once a month. Is kind of
even if you could do it, even if you sign up and you don't have a commitment that you can like say, okay, I'm a Wednesday or Thursday or Friday guy.
Yeah.
Just get into the system, and when you can serve.
Yeah.
Show up.
And we want to have as many of the families as we can participate, right? I think we have 120 out of 700-ish type families right now, right? So there's tons more opportunity, and we also know people's work schedules and lives evolve, and so the way it's set up, you can sign yourself up into the app when you can participate, and we have dads who come every week because it is important to them, and we have dads who come, and fit it in where they can. And it's, it's really a blessing a lot of times to the moms who don't then have to drive to school that morning and take their kids in. So it's really good bonding time. So when I come in, a lot of times Dan will ride in with me, and it's always been a great chance to just get a little bit of extra time as well with your kids.
You got the kid who drives now. Huh?
And he's up at like 5 o'clock this morning running down at UCSD.
Well, he's amazing like that.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know. Yeah, kid.
So is the cooking breakfast for staff, is that a year 3 initiative, or can we expect that later this year?
You mean every day?
Yeah, I mean, since you're here, you talked about serving.
You didn't know we cook breakfast.
We cook breakfast.
We cook breakfast for the staff that volunteers on the dawn patrol. So
okay, I'm gonna call you on that when I show up. It better be there. No, I'm just kidding. You guys are incredible. It's been really fun having you on campus, and I know even in my mornings, which can be a little hectic between my 2 kids trying to get them to school and then all the work stuff I have going on, just looking out and seeing that prayer circle is just a great feeling.
It's one of the best parts. Even if I can't be
part of it, it gives me a moment to kind of pause and be like, man, there's so many people invested in this place that are praying for us and praying for our kids. So
usually what we see happen is we'll have somebody who signs up and they fill out the form and say, I can do this once a month.
Yeah.
And then somehow they're there every week.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
that happens.
Because you see it as they exit the campus. There's groups of dads that go off and have coffee each morning, and their social network expands, and it's just a great opportunity to get to know people in this community, and without massive commitment. It's usually before your work day starts, so
it's like an hour. That's it, just an hour.
All right, I'm gonna sign up for one. I'll clear my morning calendar, and I'll be
the
number
kids would love to see you
121
out there.
So it'd be fun.
We'll make sure that our next special event, like the I Love You Mondays or one of those events, we'll make sure we get you out for that.
They're used to seeing me dress up, so that'll be perfect.
That'll be perfect.
I'm all in, and thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
I'm sorry in advance, or maybe in from all the times previously where I might have driven a little bit close to you.
Oh, that's okay.
Coming around, I heard Formula One, and I thought that's what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
So that's my bad.
Not a problem.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Siciliano.
And thanks to those of you watching or listening. If this is your first time checking out our podcast, we have other episodes of the Eagle Perspective podcast available on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube, or elsewhere where podcasts are available. Please check us out again. We will see you soon.